let the dogs out. We did. This is the Microsoft 365 and Power Platform Development Biweekly Call. My name is David Warner, your host with Quisitive. Today is October 10th. Woo, we are falling into fall. So we are so excited to have everybody here. I've got an awesome jam-packed session together to have today. So let's talk about what it's going to include. All right, so we're going to get the latest updates on the community. We're going to talk about some PNP.NET library updates, some PNP PowerShell. We're going to see the latest on script samples. We're going to hear about some Copilot Pro Dev samples, Power Platform samples, and then, of course, everybody's favorite time, picture time. So get those fantastic faces ready. And after that, well, it's what we really are all here to see. Our three amazing presenters of the day. First is Shiv, and he's going to talk about how to make fully responsive Power Apps. So that's awesome because we want our Power Apps to be responsive. Daniel's going to be here. He's talking about building a Kahoot-style checklist with Power Apps, so more Power Apps goodness. And then let's keep the Power Platform going. Troy is here. He's going to supercharge Power Platform connectors using custom code. Super excited for all three of those demos. But first, let's talk about some resources that are available to each and every one of you. And if you're watching and thinking, oh my goodness, again? Yes, because we always have new ones joining the call, and we want to make sure that everybody knows that these resources are available. So what are these resources? Well, the first is some learning videos at the Microsoft Community Learning channel. This is absolutely governed and managed by the community. It includes the recordings of all these calls and demos and more. So if you go to ak.ms/community/YouTube, you can subscribe and get the latest information as soon as new videos drop, and there are new videos just about every single day. We've got our LinkedIn group for discussions, so that includes you. If you would like to communicate and collaborate with the community, you can do that there. We've got our open source tools. We've got our sample galleries, many of which we'll talk about today. And you see a lot of URLs on the screen, but don't worry, you don't got to remember all of them. Just one, ak.ms/community/home will give you access to all these amazing resources. And guess what? They are absolutely free, each and every single one of them. Now you're on this call because you probably like community calls, and we like them too. So thanks for coming. But there's more. So our weekly call with Microsoft speakers is on Tuesdays. Now this is unique because it has those, as I mentioned, Microsoft speakers, those product managers, those program managers that are hard at work building the technology that we love. They are here to show us the cool things that they're working on. Sometimes it's extra special previews, so don't miss it. We've got our monthly Power Platform call that happens the third Wednesday of every month, which happens to be next week. We've got our Office add-ins, and then, of course, we've got our sibling bi-weekly calls, the Microsoft 365 and Power Platform Community Call, which you're on right now, in case you didn't know, and our Viva Connections SharePoint Framework, which happens next week. They are every other week, so every Thursday, no matter what it is, we are here for you with the calls. You can get access to all the invites, and you should get them on your calendar, ak.ms/community/calls. And when we're looking at the agenda for next week on the 15th of October, that's the Tuesday call, we're going to hear from TS, who's going to be here talking about AI 0 to 1. This is an ongoing series. So build your own RAG-based semantic search by using an API to run prompts. And our very lovely Bob the Builder German is going to be back talking about securing API plugins for Microsoft 365 Copilot with Intra ID. It builds on the demo that Seb did earlier this week. So if you want to see it, catch up on what Seb did, and then tune in on Tuesday. Now, if you're watching and you're thinking, I got some really cool things to show off to the community, I think I could share some things. We do too, and we would love you to share it. So all we need you to do is fill out the form, ak.ms/community/request/demo. Don't overthink it. Don't think that you have to show how time travel is possible and how to build a flux capacitor. Great Scott, you are building cool things already, and we want you to share it. And if you're thinking, it's probably not that cool, everybody knows how to do it, I guarantee you they don't already know how to do it. Everyone starts the journey from somewhere, and it doesn't include knowledge of everything. Now, if you'd like to demo, but you've never done it before, don't let that stop you either. We will buddy up with you, and everyone is welcome. Let us know that you'd like a buddy, and we will hook you up, and we'll do it together, and it'll be awesome. And as you're watching today and seeing a variety of samples and things that people have contributed, and you're like, that seems pretty cool. How do I use those samples? Or hey, even better, how do I contribute my samples to be able to be recognized? Well, sharing is caring is the gateway to contributions. This is sessions that are live, they're in teams, they're hands-on, they're interactive, they're safe space, which means they're not recorded. And you can ask any and all and every question you've ever wondered under the sun without fear of thinking, should I already know it? Is it going to be going on record and recorded that I don't know it? Does everybody else know it? Is that why they're not answering or asking or anything? No. No, don't worry. We're going to learn together. Now we've got new sessions that are being scheduled. We had one just a couple of weeks ago. We've got new ones coming up late October, early November. So be on the lookout for those. We absolutely welcome you to join. Safe space, wonderful opportunity. Hugo and I run these, and we're getting some more people involved, and we would love to have you. All right, so keep an eye out, ak.ms/sharing is caring. And of course, once you do contribute, well, guess what? We are going to recognize you using our community recognition program. It is back again. We are so excited. This has been a great year, continues to be an even better year with all the contributions that you're doing. And look at those badges stacking up. So many. We've got our Prompt Pro for highlighting those prompts for Power Platform and Copilot. Prompt Timber is just in the dust, right? We left it behind, but Promptober is here, and so is Hacktoberfest. And we've also got Refresh Rangers going on right now for SPFX controls, and those are going to be ongoing initiatives to help update and keep up to date other samples, and of course the newest SPFX toolkit for those that are involved there. It is absolutely free for you to join. All we need you to do is opt in at ak.ms/community/recognition. All just got to do that once, and we'll track the work you're doing year over year, and we'll recognize you. And it's free. And these are live and real and official and accredited badges, so they can go on your profile in LinkedIn. They can go on your blog. Show them to your clients. Show them to your boss. This is why you deserve that raise, or you deserve that contract. Because guess what? You're making a difference in the community for everyone else. You're a leader, and we want to recognize you and say how much we love you for it, and we thank you. So get opted in. All right, let's move over to some project-specific updates, and we'll start with PNP prompts. So I talked about those Copilot prompts. We welcome community contributions. Please don't hesitate to contribute your prompts. These are super easy, ak.ms/PNP prompt library. And in fact, we've got a prompt of the week. So Ezekiel created an agenda for an upcoming team meeting on a specific date. You can say what the meeting will focus on, and you can ask for the different details that you need for each meeting and add any relevant documents and reports that participants should review in advance. So great job, Ezekiel. We love the work you're doing. And everybody else, please don't hesitate to submit. This is one of the easier ways to contribute along with some of our other initiatives. All right, let's start with, again, PNP.NET libraries and Bert.
Awesome. Thank you, David. So what happened in PNP.NET land? A few things. First of all, for the CoreSDK library, actually, in this case, the change is a bit of the same for both CoreSDK and PNP framework libraries. Is Christian Zulik from Monday Coffee, if I recall correctly, that did some work on the page title web art. So you remember we changed how pages kind of handle the title zone on a page. And he did implement that, and he had some additional updates for that one. So thanks for that, Christian. And for the rest, overall, usage keeps on growing. Things are running fine. So but pretty feature complete, I think, for the most part. So if you have ideas, issues, concerns, just let us know. And with that, I think let's move on to Gautam for the PNP PowerShell update. Thank you all, guys.
Awesome. Thank you, Bert. Gautam, take it away.
Yep. Thanks, David. Thanks, Bert. So PNP PowerShell updates. So as some of you, as you know, .NET 6.0 is going to get deprecated in November. So as part of that process, we are going to make PNP PowerShell 3.0 coming soon-ish. So it will be based on .NET 8, and it will support PowerShell 7.4 or later versions of that. So what next? So we've made, as part of the 3.0 updates, we've made quite a few changes. So you can find a list of those changes in the link that I shared here in the chat. Feel free to check that out. The major change would be that Connect PNP Online will now default to the interactive mode of authentication. So this helps quite a lot of customers who have conditional access and other kind of enter ID policies. So that's why we decided to make this particular change. Besides that, there are quite a few other minor changes, as well as there will be some breaking changes as well in going forward. So keep an eye on this particular document that I've shared with you. .NET 8.0 is quite nice. We are seeing just superb 20 to 40% performance improvements simply by moving the framework from .NET 6 to .NET 8. So that's quite good, and it also decreases the memory consumption in quite a lot of cases. So feel free to check that out. I would absolutely love to hear your feedback on that. So do reach out to us on the GitHub issue list as well as on the discussion forums. Thanks. Over to you, David.
Awesome. Thank you, Gautam. All right. And next up is script samples with Mr. Paul Bullock.
Thank you, Mr. David. So welcome to Script Samples. This is a place where you can share your PowerShell scripts, Bash scripts, scripts written with PnP PowerShell, Microsoft Graph SDK, and many, many other toolings, CLI for M365, and many more. These all are integrated into the samples, SUSE samples gallery. So it's nice and public, and there's obviously a dedicated site for the samples as well. And Angel Wojcik has created an awesome set of extensions where he actually feeds into the extensions data from this site, so people can see your samples through that as well, which is super, super cool. So we've got a wonderful set of updates coming through. So we've got a few from a few familiar faces. So Peter Paul Krishna has created a deleted interactive guest user for the Graph SDK. He's also gone download all files from document library in the CLI, which is super, super cool. Dan Toft has released a sample for updating list icons and color with PnP PowerShell. Casper has created a document template library, new drop-down in a document library, and also report of SharePoint savings and trimming document versions. We've also got Reshmi, who's created three more scenarios where we've got audit everyone and everyone external users claim for SharePoint sites. We've also got get files with retention sensitivity labels in SharePoint Online, and get permissions, including unique permissions up to item level. So great for your Copilot rollout if you want to rein in your tenant a bit. So those will be super, super useful. And we've also got Hacktoberfest is happening at the moment. So any contributions to this repository contributes to that program as well. So 4 PRs and you're done. So I'm happy to accept all 4 PRs on my repo. So not that I'm in competition with anybody else on the PnP program, but I'd be more than happy to accept your contributions. And if you need help with any of your contributions, you can always ping me, DM me on social media or Pigeon Carrier or whatever your preferred medium is, and also you'll be eligible for a badge as long as you opt in. So that's a key thing. So, but thank you very much. That's absolutely awesome. You're absolutely awesome for all your contributions that you've done so far. And one other thing, we've crossed 400th scripts in the script sample library. So that's awesome milestone there, and I'm getting very close to crossing the 300 line with the scenario, so which is super, super cool. Back to you, David.
Awesome, Paul. Thank you very much. And yeah, everybody, this is really cool. Congratulations on that 400 script. And as Paul said, you can contribute anywhere you want, as many times as you want, as long as it's script samples is what I think Paul said, right? A great way to contribute, by the way, everybody. Super simple. We all have those utility scripts, and Paul's a great guy. So definitely get involved there. All right, next up is Copilot Pro Dev Samples with Bob German.
Hey, thank you, sir. Well, so happy to announce a new repo, new PnP repo, which Sebastian Levert and myself are curating, and also we've got some help from Waldek, who made the first sample. So there's 2 samples in there. These are really simple declarative agents, which I'm curious if declarative agents are starting to work in your tenants yet. It should be very soon now if you don't already have them, assuming you've paid for the Copilot part. Of course, you have to have Copilot for M365. But anyway, we have this great new repo here, and the first example is a simple declarative agent that calls an API. What's interesting is that it's a secured API, so you have to log in. And Waldek made one based on the technique that's used in Teams Toolkit using EasyAuth. And then I used Waldek's new validation library to build one that has the code baked in. I'm going to explain all this on the Tuesday call. So please join me for the Tuesday platform call. And for now, it's back to this call already in progress, David. Thank you.
Awesome. And that's what you call a cliffhanger, everybody. So tune in on Tuesday to get the exciting conclusion of Bob's demos. Very, very cool, Bob. Thank you very much. All right. Last but not least is our Power Platform samples. We've got plenty of samples there, 48. In fact, now you could get us to 50. So definitely please contribute. Kate's doing a great job of maintaining that. Unable to be with us here today, but we want to make sure everybody knows it includes prompts, and that includes the Prompt Pro and the Promptober access to that. So lots of badge opportunities. All right, what time is it? It is picture time. So let's get those cameras turned on, and I'll move this over here and close that. And I see Todd's looking good, and Vesa is on. Stephanie's there. All right, I'll move this over. Ralph is here again. Awesome. All right, still got some rows, everybody. Come on. There's room for everybody. We're almost there. All right. Ooh, look at that hat. Is it our pilots? All right. Bob's looking good. Okay, everybody, let's do the countdown. 3, 2, 1, wave. Woo! All right, Todd and Vesta are high-fiving. You look awesome. Looks great seeing everybody. Thank you all for all you do in the community. Looking great. Now Todd and Vesta look like they're just fighting. All right, everybody, let's get back to our regularly scheduled program. Thank you all for being awesome. We're going to start and kick it off for our presenters. Shiv's going to start us off with how to make fully responsive Power Apps. So whenever you are ready, take over the screen and kick us off.
Good morning and good evening, everyone. My name is Shiv, and I worked as a Microsoft 365 specialist. I have extensive experience with the Microsoft Power Platform, including Power Apps, Power Automate, Power BI, SharePoint, and SharePoint Framework, React.js, Azure, JavaScript, jQuery, etc. So additionally, I enjoy writing technical blogs, and
hey, Shiv, are you sharing your screen yet, or?
Yeah, sorry. Let me share my screen.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, great. Now you just want to throw that into presentation mode for us, and you're on your way.
Perfect. So
excellent.
Thank you. So today we will discuss how to make a responsive Power Apps, which will be totally responsive on all the devices, whether it be a mobile, a tablet, or it's a you can say iPad. So it will be responsive with all the aspects and all the horizontally, vertically as well. So for demonstrate that, I just take a use case of one of the applications which I named as a Speaker Hub platform. So basically, this is a platform where any speaker comes and submit the request if you want to speak in one of the community. So community members, like, he can validate it and they can approve it or reject it on the basis of the information he shared. Let's say in this screen, you can see a snapshot where James submit a request. He's a technical lead. He has total 6 recognitions and total 2 events he speak, and he is a keynote speaker, and it is approved by Alex and Aryan, and we have a detail button also, and it is approved. But here Michael submit a request, but it is rejected by John. So this is a platform where any user comes and he can submit a request, and community members can take action. And we have also made approval history, logs, comment, and etc. So let me quickly share you the first of all. So it is responsive on iPad, horizontal, vertical, as well as tab view and the mobile view. Let's quickly go to the application and we will understand a better way. So as I told you, we can also see the logs by hovering that icon. So I will come later on that part. So let's quickly open that in editor mode and I will explain each and everything. So first of all, before it, I want to tell you for making this responsive screens, we need to take by default some screens, which is modern screen, which is provided by Power Platform, which is pre-built, you can say, responsive screens. So this is one of them where we have take this header and gallery screen, which is totally responsive, build, and which contain responsive containers thanks to this header container and the main container. So for my case, I do not have this image in my list, so I remove in that my case. So let's quickly come back on my app where I will explain you each and everything. Let me scroll left so that you can see properly. So here you can see in the main screen, we have this vertical containers. First is a header one where we can add it as per our requirement. Like here I had title, add a title, Speaker Hub platform. We can show and hide the title as per our requirement. We can add a logo. In my case, I had uploaded the logo of this one, this square type logo, which is a Microsoft logo. And we can show hide as well that. We can add a tooltip. We can add a profile picture, as you can see on the right side. So we can update that also as our need. So right now I just add as a user.image, which is a Microsoft 365 function to get the logged user properties. So and the next container is main container, which gallery container, where is the main container is a title container, which is the house of all the controls. You can say that, where I just add a speaker name, which is a modern control. You can find it in the search bar by typing a text. So these new modern controls are very helpful in these kind of scenarios. After that, I used a job description with same this text control, modal text control, and after that I added total recognitions, same modal control, text control, which you can find same in the same way, where I mentioned a string total recognition as a heading and then concatenate it with my column name. So let me show you my list also so that you can understand well as a backend. So here we have like speaker information, speaker name, speaker status. So that we are using Power Automate. So, but in the today's call, I will explain the Power Apps part, which is how to make it responsibly, fully responsive. So speaker status, allowed speaker is an internal speaker or a guest or a external. He is approved by that details VR maintains, approval metrics details, and the main important thing, the comments and all who like logs and audit history, and the decision taking. Like out of these number of approvers, 2 are taken action. That's it. So let's come back on the app, and so after this recognition, we have a requirement where we have to add 2 things in this container, responsive container. So one is a total event, which is a again a modern text control, and the another is batch control, which is a very helpful or is a kind of very attractive control. So you can find it by searching a batch keyword. So here it is. So here in this batch control, we have applied some condition for its color. So there is a property name as base Padlet color. So here you can find we have used switch function, which is column this item dot column name. If the value is this, then color is purple. If the values of the status is team speaker, then the value is green. So we have write the conditions of the color code on the dynamic basis. So we do not need to write it manually. So it is dynamic as per your column value. And after that, we have a button container where we have add one of the important control, that is tab list control. So let me show you that also. So when you type tab list, so you can find this control. Let me show you the properties of this tab list. How I made this. Let me show you first what it will do. So it will contains all the approval details, approval metric detail. In this case, you can see Adley is approved, but John is rejected. So this is a tab list view control. Let me show you the formula and the function for that. So when you click it, there is an item name property where I use a for all loop, and I made some conditions. So as you can see, there are icons like this approved icon and the rejected icon. So these are come on the on these condition basis. So if the speaker to status value is approved, then this icon, and if it is rejected, then rejected icon. Else, that is third case, under process. So we can show this image. So it is our totally a requirement, and we have also have a decision taking column. So we are added a one number one, like a one count on the current decision taken. So let's quickly come back, and we have some detail button, and the last not the least, header control. So that is also you can find it in the modern control. You can search like profile, and you can find that control. Let me show you the property of that also. Here is a header control, and so here few things I want to tell you. First of all, on hovering, we can see the approval audit history. So in the list, we have this approval history column, which we are maintaining using Power Automate. So that I had mentioned in that user name, you can find it here also, user name. So this item dot approval history. Similarly, we can as in my list only I don't have images for all the approvers, so I used mine one. So you can make as per your, like if you have like number of accounts, so you can make as per the approvers account also. Similarly, we have one more property for this profile control, that is base palette color. So which I had also write a condition switch function. If this item speaker status value is approved, then green. Else, if it is rejected, then red. If it is in the process, then golden red. And one more thing, we can use height and width of these control using a parent.template, parent.template height, parent.template width. So that is most important, because in this responsive case, it will take your parent, as we are using containers. So it will take your parent container. Like in this case, we have like details and Alex. Similarly, total events, we have two different controls. So if so, we have to write as per the parent template width. That's all. Thank you.
Shiv, very, very cool stuff. Packed a ton into that. So really appreciate a lot of nuggets of wisdom and information there. Really appreciate you coming to share all that with us. Very, very cool stuff. All right, let's move on to Daniel, who's going to talk about building a Kahoot-style checklist with Power Apps. So Daniel, if you'd like to take on over the screen share and lay it on us.
Yes, I will do. 2 seconds and see if I get it running.
Yep, loaded.
We're up and going.
Great. Yep.
Perfect. So my name is Daniel Koven. I'm a senior consultant and subject leader, dad, nerd, and a foodie, among all my other interests and hobbies. Today I'm going to talk to you about basically a simple concept. Well, always, I love PowerPoint. And for all things known, I'm from Norway, northern part, North Cape, living currently in Trondheim. And to give some perspectives to people from America, it's basically northern Canada is how far north we're from. I love to make it simple, and I follow the old KISS principle, which means basically keep it simple, stupid, or keep it simple, silly. Because to make it simple for the end user requires much more from us who develop apps. In this case, I built a simple quiz app, and it works such that if you press the quiz, the first one is a gallery. I will show you the tech specs behind it, but if you filter on the distinct category, you can have several categories in your own list, and just by using the distinct one, you get them up. Click one of them, and we'll clear collect from the source to a collection of questions in this case. The next screen will be a basic gallery where we filter for the first where the answer is blank. In this case, we can take then a list of questions and just show one at a time. Then we have two buttons, the right answer, no matter if it's yes or no, and the wrong answer, color-coded, and also convenient to put on the right side. So when you have it on a phone, going through a checklist where you have to check a lot of things, for instance, checking through security checklist, you can just press the yes button with your right, and you will also stop up and press the other one, of course, when you discover something wrong. It will update two collections, both the question collection to update this form so that the next question will pop up, but also its own answer collection. When all the answers are filled out, that means no more empty answers, we will make this pop-up visible and also then hide the original quiz. Gives you two options. You can basically submit it directly, or you can see the answers, and that will just show you the gallery of answers. One of the things which I found made me most proud was the solution to just toggle the answers on and off. So when you get the questions and you get the answers still color-coded, of course, and if you click them, they will just toggle between the right and the wrong answer. So you can easily see if you checked everything before you submit the request. A benefit of this app is, first of all, it takes any sources. Since it uses collections in between, you can use any source available. I've done it with Excel, with SharePoint, which Excel is not a database. I've done it with SharePoint List, and of course with Dataverse. And the app I will show you today is one of the earlier prototypes when I built it. Now, building an app is not just building an app. I had to build a prototype first, and the very first prototype I learned a few things from. First of all, when I started this, I didn't figure out first in a gallery. So what I did was I built 1 page per question. It made it easy to modify it when you had just a simple app, but it was terrible when you got like 40 questions to answer. So I sat down and solved my problem. So just starting building a prototype quite early gives you the ability to find all the issues and problems and then try to solve them afterwards. This one didn't use a database of any sort. Everything was in the app. It was terrible, but a great learning session. 2 things I've learned from this is that you could set the variable to self-text. So I just displayed the text within this box, since I didn't have a database, and added this a variable with the answer. Also then navigate to the next screen. From this, I learned collections beats variables any day. For any time you need to get more information out. So it's a great learning experience in itself. I also needed to get a lot of data and like test the backend because it's stored to a SharePoint list at one point and an Excel sheet another. So building a small quick fill for troubleshooting, where it actually just filled out all the fields with random values. And to make it more realistic, I said 90% of the values to be true random and 90% to be false, 10% to be false. This made me fill up a quick list and also made me test parts of the app instead of every time going through each and one question at a time. But there are more features within this, so I thought I would bump over to the actual app or one of the earlier editions of the app. It is in Norwegian. So for some of you, it's kind of be annoying, especially since we use commas and semicolons incorrectly. But I will guide you through some of the techniques I used to solve this problem. So first of all, I have added a menu on top, which is a toggle menu, and it also scales. I have the gallery to be the first one. So let's go in and see. Using containers. This first app didn't have the gallery. I just added buttons. But within each button, it will collect the questions from the form. This early edition of the app also uses Excel in backend. So for all of you who care about data storage, yeah, I did the wrong thing. But it was fun because it's easy to just build up a simple form within Excel to have different questions and just collect them based on whichever button you press. So if I ever click one, it will gather the question. That's why it loads a little slow, and then it will just show the gallery view. And here we use the gallery view in the quiz screen. And here we content gallery. Filter first, collection question where answer is blank. So very simple, but it makes it easy to build up the app. Then it will patch the question with its self-text. I could also do it from a database in the later editions. I didn't use the self-text, but in this early part, we actually chose to pick out the self-text as an answer to patch it. So clicking through this one, it has also another feature which I've tested at this point. It's changes type of question. So this is a question that has a range instead. So I can actually add the number of something and click the button to add the answer again. This is where self-answer is quite nice. So clicking through everything will give you the end screen where you can either send it in or look at the answers. And the answers are toggleable buttons, so I can change before submitting every answer. It's also added up and down buttons to change the value of the screen. It will also color code when you reach max and minimum. That's a by effect of the formatting I use. To cover that part, actually, I can show a small thing, and that's adding an icon on top. So I will scroll in. It will be hidden here, but it's an icon on top, which increases the answer. And also then an icon on bottom, which you will see below here, which decreases the answer. Very simple solutions, but made it better. One thing I fixed in the later app is actually that I made the icons take half the screen. This one allowed me to manually input the data, but I preferred not to do it because it's. Let's see if I can get it back up. Control C. Yeah, sorry. There we go. Take the half the screen because manual adding information is, with the small numbers you use for this, it's better to just let the buttons take half the screen. Using visible and invisible is the key to solve most of these issues. So I've been using a lot of them. Visible, which is basically a lot of if and and, but if it's a type of number, which means it's a range, and we set the display mode true or false. I said, yeah, so it's to display it if it's a range, if not, it's hidden. So it's a very simple thing. The buttons themselves, there, answer toggle button, will update the answer, and here as well we do if this is the true false type of question, then show or not. So it's a very simple thing all over, but from the end user perspective, I did test it as the early prototype to a customer, and just the concept was really loved. They used paper forms today, and this improved it quite a lot for them. I have added more features in the modern edition, and among them is the ability to edit questions. This one is the earliest prototype of it. One feature here is that you see all questions listed in a row. I will actually play this one. So all questions in a row, and when you click one of them, it will expand. In this way, you will not fill the screen with too much information. It's easier to see, and you can then choose to add the right and the wrong answer based on the question you have. So it's yes could be no and no could be yes. Everything is possible. This is also done with basic galleries and viewing on select. So they will be visible on select, but not besides that. Just checking the time here. I started my timer a little slow, but I think I have a few more minutes to show you. Oh, there we go. Scroll. Yeah, a data source in this case, if it's irrelevant, it's just basically a order, categories, questions, descriptions, true, false, which type it is, and of course what's generated by the Power Apps. So this is just general tables created within an Excel file to solve the question. So this is more or less the basic apps. I have a few tricks which I've learned, which is nice. One of them is that the menu toggles by using the height and remove the height based on visible. So a lot of if and when you can change the height so it will toggle nicely. Another nice feature is that the icon appear when you start a quiz. At the moment that you press a yes button, you get a reset appear. So the icon is in the same place, it just changes based on where you are. And just the same here using visible. If I then want to reset, it will go back to start, just clearing all the answers. That will cover most of mine. So thank you for having me and listening. I have bits of code on GitHub, it's a mess. I have a blog which I update seldomly, teams.sa, and I'm available on LinkedIn. So thanks for today.
Awesome stuff, Daniel. This is really, really cool. I love how throughout you kept saying it's simple, but that's what everybody needs to learn and to start getting started and start getting started. Yeah, to start getting started and everything. So I got to say, your checklist demo checked all the boxes. See what I did there? Checklist, checked all the boxes. Awesome stuff. All right. Thank you so much for sharing with the community. All right. Troy is taking over the screen. He is ready to go, and he is going to talk about supercharged Power Platform connectors using custom code. Take it away, Troy.
Yeah, thanks, David. Hello, everyone. My name is Troy Taylor. I'm a Microsoft MVP for Power Automate and Copilot Studio. Today, we're going to be talking about one of my favorite topics, Power Platform connectors, and how to use custom code in several ways to build out your connector. So a little bit about me. I'm a senior Power Platform consultant with Hitachi Solutions America. I'm here in Pennsylvania in the United States. And my claim to fame is that I'm an independent publisher connector publisher. I have over 200 certified connectors that are released for the Power Platform. This is about 1/6 of the almost 1,300 connectors that are available on the platform. So I've certainly spent a lot of time building connectors and dealing with a lot of different API services, and I enjoy it quite a lot. Otherwise, I wouldn't be publishing as many as I do. There's my LinkedIn and my Twitter. If you have any questions about how to create connectors or how to get them certified and published, certainly feel free to reach out to me. I'm always happy to help out in the community. As you can see from my picture, when I'm not building custom connectors, I have a small farm with sheep and goats, and I do love to cuddle them. I do want to point out that the Microsoft Power Platform connectors repo on GitHub does qualify for Hacktoberfest contributions. So if you have connectors that you haven't submitted yet, or you see bugs in existing connectors, any of those independent publisher connectors, now is the time to submit those. And if you have any questions about that, I'm also happy to help with that. Hacktoberfest is once a year, a good time of the year to contribute connectors, but any time of the year is a good time to contribute connectors. All right. So many of you know what Power Platform connector is, but what is custom code in that Power Platform connector? And custom code allows you to transform both requests and the response payloads so that you can extend your connectors to perform additional actions that are not standard, not out of the box. There's no templates for them, or maybe there's no authentication methods available for it. And you can do all of that with custom code. Just keep in mind that custom code only allows you to have one C# script per connector, but you certainly can use if-else statements to handle your different operations. And keep in mind that the code must execute within 5 seconds, and the script file cannot be more than 1 megabyte. So these are, restrictions that Microsoft has put on the custom code service for you. Keep in mind these are not firm, hard rules, but they are there just to keep in mind when you're doing this development. So yes, I love to build connectors for the community. Independent publisher connectors are not services that the publishers own themselves. So people are often asking me, what service are you building for next? And one of the services I found this summer that I've been working on a connector for, it's a service I really love because it has a great free tier. So if you need to do anything with transforming PDFs or transforming images, certainly look it out. Give it, it's a great service out there. And so for my demo today, we're gonna go over 2 different examples. We're gonna have one example that goes over combining the 5 different actions here in this image. We're going to talk about how each of these actions are needed to ultimately download that transformed file for you. And we're going to take a cumbersome process and make it a lot easier, especially when you're using custom code, when you're building a custom connector, make it easy for your end users. So custom code for this example, it's a great way to make it better for your end users. There are some restrictions there. You have to keep in mind what namespaces Microsoft makes available to you. So you can't add your own namespaces. There's libraries you can't certainly add for your code, but just keep those in mind. During my demo, we're going to be using this context logger, which is great for debugging your actions in the connector editor. It's a tool that was made available, I believe, last year, and not a lot of people use that to the full extent to help in your debugging process. And like I mentioned before, we will definitely be using if statements to help control which part of your code is executed for which operation. Just so I don't have to switch back, let me review the second code example that I'll be showing. So one of the things that we're doing when we're making this connector action easy for end users is we're going to provide a drop-down list of all of the tools that are available for the service. And based off of that drop-down, what we're going to do is we're going to provide dynamic schemas for the additional parameters that are either required or optional, but optional for that tool. And so you'll see that not every parameter is available for each tool. And by dynamically loading that, it makes a great experience for your end user. All right, so that's all of my deck. Let's go over now and get right into it. All right. So as I mentioned, go on Microsoft Learn. If you're just starting to build a custom connector, or you want to learn more advanced operations, certainly look to Microsoft Learn as a great starting point for that. We're specifically, we're talking about this page here about writing code in custom connector. And there's lots of great technical requirements laid out for you and some samples here. So that's that page. Next, building out your custom connector, you certainly have to keep in mind what's available in your API. And so I've shown it here. You can see here the 4 operations. We're actually we're going to add a 5th operation to handle authentication as well. But yes, you can see, what the action it needs to be, what endpoint you need to call, and then, whatever the API provides for different parameter options for that as well. One of the things you might notice here is the responses are very limited. And so, you keep in mind when you're building custom connector, make sure that you fully develop for both the request parameters and the response parameters. Make it easy for your end users. All right, we're going to step through a couple different tabs here now. So here is the first iteration of the connector that I built out. You can see here, here's the 5 operations I had in that image earlier. We're going to authenticate. We're going to start the process for transforming the image. We have to upload the image or point it towards whatever public URL is for the image or PDF. We're going to start the process. We have to do a second action for that. So once it's available once the file's available within the service, we have to start the process. And then finally, we're going to download. And so as you see here, this first action it's very common for API services where we're turning a public key that the API makes available, and we're going to create a use token for this. So let's go ahead and call this action. You can see here that my public key has been exchanged for a token. So let's go ahead. We're going to copy that, and I'll show you where you need to keep using these for each of these actions. So see here, we're going to paste it here in the start action. We're going to paste the token here. We're going to paste the token here, and we're going to paste the token here. Now, certainly when you're building Power Automate, yes, you could certainly be, have this all set out, have those parameters all configured, and let your flow run and have it call all those actions. But we're gonna try to simplify this. So you see now that I've called this start process, you can see that not only do I have a task ID that's been assigned for the process, but also that it's given me a specific server that the service is going to use for this process. So we're going to copy the task ID, make sure that's added for each of those additional actions. Look at that. And let's go ahead, and now we need to copy that server host as well. Let's copy that. Okay, we're going to paste it in each of these additional actions. All pasted here. All right, let's go back to the upload. So this upload, just for the demo, I'm going to use a cloud file. Let's go ahead and get that uploaded. And you can see now that the API is returning a server file name. Doesn't match the file name I of the original file, but that's okay. We have that server file name. You can see now that I also need to copy that into the process action. It's not required for the download action, but it is for the process. So let's go ahead and get that started. That's successful. You can see here, that the file is now available. We have a task success here, and we should be good to go. Now it should be all available. The process is finished, and you can see ultimately, that the PDF file has been returned here. That's all great. So the service works. We know it works in the Power Platform with this custom connector, but let's make it a little easier. So this is a second custom connector I made, and what it does here is in this case I've used custom code. All right. So I know that this small white box is quite small, so let's switch over and show it in Visual Studio Code. Okay. So here's the code. I will make this available definitely when I do submit the connector for submission. But if you want to get a copy of this code, certainly reach out to me, and I'll freely give this to you. But here's the custom code that I've built. You can see that namespaces have been defined. We're using that execute async, and we've started the logger, made that available. You can see that I've set up some tasks already, some other variables that don't change based off of, whether it's a testing situation or production situation. So those we're going to hard code. And you can see that I've also used an if statement to match it for operation IDs. This is for the final connector, so it has both operations for PDF and image, which I've separated out in that final. And you can see, we're starting to get information from that action. All right, so we have to define those and make those available within the custom code. And then we have several blocks here. So we start out, with that exchanging of the API key, making the token, making it available. And you can see that it's ultimately been signed as a bearer token. That's what's going to be used for the other actions. We're going to go, we're going to do that second action in that diagram. We're going to start the request. There's code there. We're going to upload the request. We're going to process the request. And ultimately, we're going to finally download the request and return the response to the action. So let's go back over to the custom code. You can see here, I have this one operation, this one action. We're defining the tool, we're giving the file name, and we're setting the cloud file. Let's go ahead, let's test this. So here, I'm not going to have to copy any of those response parameters. And you can see, within that 5 seconds, or, give it a little extra for the server connections, I've returned the PDF, made it available in one operation. So I'm calling all 5 of those custom code components to get that same file that we got in the original connector. All right. Ultimately, though, there's additional custom code that I want. So I wrote out all the custom code, made stringing those operations together, made that all cool. But ultimately, let's go back. But ultimately, like I said, I want to make I want to make this as easy as I can for the users. So, there's dozens of tools available, and each tool has its own parameters that are either required or optional based off of, the selected tool. So what I'm going to do here using custom code is I'm going to set up a dictionary, okay? And what this dictionary does, we're going to take a look at, this compress tool, is it sets up a JSON object, and this JSON object is what's going to be returned as the response for the action. So what it does is, it sets it up as a JSON object, and it's giving, in this case, the compress tool only has the parameter compress level. But what I've done is I've written out all of the keys that are needed for that dynamic schema. The type, the description, title. In this case, it's enumerated, so it's going to have limited options, and it's going to have the default action. Now, this is all stuff. If you were doing it without custom code, you would still configure your parameter for the custom connector to do this. So, what this is ultimately going to do is when we go to a flow, and we go to this compress PDF, you can see that. In this case, it's already been loaded, but the compressed level schema has been returned. But let's go ahead. Let's change it. Let's pick another one. Page numbers, I think, has multiple options. Yeah, there we go. And if we're looking at page numbers for the PDF tool, you can see all of these other parameters are available. None of them are required, of course. But they're optional, and we've given default values as part of that dynamic schema for all of them. In this case, making it the best custom connector that we can do. I've split out PDF tools from image tools, so you can see that those are available and are returned dynamically as well. So here, we're watermarking an image, and these are the slightly different parameters that are available based off of that tool. Okay. Lastly, I'd like to, again, point out the Microsoft Power Platform Connectors repo. This is the open source repo for not only independent publisher connectors, but also certified connectors from those third-party ISVs, as well as custom connectors that are available from Microsoft. So this is a great jumping off point. If you want to extend connectors, you want to get examples for how connectors work, certainly look up this repo and check it out. All right, that's it for me. Thanks. And back to you, David.
Excellent stuff, Troy. Very, very thorough, very cool. Really appreciate you covering all that, kind of showing it end to end how they can build that connector and utilize them. And thank you for kind of championing that initiative. It is a really great one, and lots of amazing connectors are there for sure. So check it out, everybody, because it is still alive and well. Okay, well, let's wrap up the call. So thank you, Shiv, Daniel, and Troy for the amazing demos today. We really brought the power up to the community call today. So thank you all. Great stuff. If you'd like to collaborate more in the community, we absolutely welcome you to join our Discord server. If nothing else, it lets you allows you to look cool in front of the kids, because you're going to talk about Discord and they're going to be like, oh my goodness, mom and dad is awesome. They're in a Discord server. But it's also a great opportunity to communicate and collaborate with the community. It's absolutely free. It's kind of a one-stop shop because we've got a number of channels in there that are dedicated to a variety of the areas of the community. So check it out, aka.ms/community/Discord. We'd also love to get some feedback from you. So if things are working and you like them, let us know. If there's things you'd like to see improved, let us know. If there's things you don't like, let us know. Just be constructive. We want to make sure that this is a good opportunity for you all to learn together and that we are bringing value to you each and every single week. Now, the recording will be available in 24 hours on the Microsoft Community Learning YouTube channel. Subscribe today, aka.ms/community/YouTube. You will not be able to download it from the Teams team. If it tells you it's ready for download, do not believe it. It is lying. You have to be in attendance. So the best way is going to our YouTube channel, subscribing, and saying, yes, tell me as soon as something new comes out, because that will be wonderful. You can also follow us on X, the artist formerly known as Twitter, for updates at M365PNP, or join our LinkedIn group, and you will be alerted there as well. The next Microsoft 365 and Power Platform bi-weekly call 2 weeks from today at the exact same time, October 24th, 7 a.m. Pacific. And the next Viva Connections is next week, October 17th. Our other community calls are available next week as well. Our maturity model for Microsoft 365, as well as the Power Platform community calls next week. So go get your invites to each and every one of those at aka.ms/community/calls. Other than that, have a wonderful rest of your week, everybody. Hope you're enjoying as the weather changes, and have a wonderful weekend. Thank you all for being awesome. Keep it up. Woohoo! Woo!